You'd think that with the beautiful photographs that we have of our round blue planet, it would convince any doubters. But there are still some who insist that the world is flat. Correspondent Mariana Van Zella discovers more about this fast-growing movement in California.
That's the famous blue marble that everybody's seen. But let me tell you something about that famous shot. It's not a photo at all, man. It was made in Photoshop. Cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just photographs.
I'm Mariana Van Zeller, and I'm in Southern California to look into a growing movement in America. We're here to try to understand what's behind people who claim the Earth is flat, this unconventional view, and how they call themselves the Flat Earthers, and what can affect the rest of us. So what's happening here today? Why are you here?
This matters to me. Flat Earth shows you that you are not a mistake, and you were created, and so you have meaning, and you matter to the world. You know? We're not monkeys floating through space on a ball as an accident.
It's not testable, it's not measurable, it's not provable, it's not real.
Right. How old are you guys, just out of curiosity?
27.
Do you think it's a growing movement?
Yes. And we're networking, we're getting stronger, people are realizing it, it's coming out in the media, you're hearing the term flat Earth.
A recent survey of Americans
It's becoming more normal, people are more open-minded
found that 2% believe
to it.
he's not wrong. The Earth is flat. For the U.S. population as a whole, that works out to be over 6.5 million people. Even high-profile artists and athletes are getting on board.
Flat.
So I want to try to find Mark Sargent, who's one of the leaders of the Flat Earth community.
Nice to see you, man. No, we met at Pasadena.
Mark used to design video games and run software trainings. Now, he devotes himself full-time to promoting the Flat Earth.
Absolutely.
Hi. See, with all the attention that you must be Mark Sargent.
I am Mark Sargent.
Thanks for meeting us here.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's about changing the
So tell me, what is this movement all about?
world, literally. You think this movement is, for the longest time, that you live here. What if it wasn't this? What if this was just the illusion?
Pontius model.
Yeah, we're gonna open this thing up. And the reality looks something like this. In a nutshell, you have the North Pole at the center, the continents splayed out organically on the sides. Antarctica is stretched around the entire outer edge like an ice wall. The sun and the moon are very, very small, a giant planetarium. And the stars are just, which means it was built by somebody. It's lights in the sky, someone bigger than us, someone better than us.
Do you think it was a god?
Not my place to say.
Your belief in the Earth being flat flies in the face of
Hundreds of years.
of evidence, of scientific evidence that the world is round. Not only that, we have satellite imagery. We have photos from space that
Yes.
prove that the Earth is round.
Right. And nobody here believes any of that anymore.
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike. It really is.
So you don't believe that people traveled in space?
No. Oh, it's much worse than you know. Was to keep this thing under wraps.
Okay.
Meaning the only reason NEPS, as best they could.
Why?
NASA was founded in 1958.
Why?
Think of the shock waves. If all of a sudden you're telling a civilization that this model, this isn't it anymore, flat Earth is the last conspiracy anyone ever looks at.
Mark and his fellow flat earthers seem to be pretty convinced that the Earth is flat and that we've all been lied to for all these years. But I'm interested in knowing what kind of impact this might have, not only for science, but for society at large. So we're heading to meet with an astrophysicist that we hope can answer some of these questions.
The universe began about 14 billion years ago,
Professor of Physics and Astronomy at the
an event that we call the Big Bang.
University of California, Irvine. James Bullock is a professor. He specializes in how galaxies form. Did you ever think a few years ago that you'd be having this discussion for National Geographic?
It's frankly shocking. We've known for 2,000 years, based on observations you can make with your own eyes, that the world is round.
But they have all the evidence right in front of them and they still choose not to believe in it.
You know, who knows what motivates people from the inside to believe these things? But science is important. Science is valuable. Science saves lives, it makes our lives better and more comfortable, and it enriches us intellectually. And to question what scientists are saying and suggest that they're part of some massive international global conspiracy, it's really scary. Governments stop funding science.
Are they a threat to the work that
Because of some kind of anti-science.
you do as a scientist?
If, say, it's anti-intellectual feedback they're getting from the populace, that's when it really starts getting dangerous for our civilization.
And as the war on science heats up, some Americans are fighting back.
We're heading to the largest lake in California to meet the Independent Investigations Group, which is a group that essentially debunks paranormal claims. And they want to do a round Earth test, basically a test that will prove that the Earth is not flat, but that it is round.
Let's go. We're ready to launch. You ready, Craig?
James, how are you?
Okay.
Okay, so what's happening here right now?
Okay, this is the boat base to the water here with a target. It's horizontal stripes. Striped target. We're going to launch a small boat out into... Come on, Betty! And as it gets farther and farther out, you'll start to lose the stripes.
One way that Aristotle proved 2,000 years ago that the Earth is a sphere was with a boat test very similar to this one. As the boat approaches the horizon, it appears to slowly dip down into the water before disappearing completely. That's got everything to do with the curvature of the Earth. If the planet was flat, the entire boat would remain visible.
So it'll be a very visual depiction of the curvature of the Earth.
And what's really interesting actually going to be here for this test, they want to say is that some of the flat earthers see it for themselves. Including Mark Sargent. What do you think is going to happen here today?
I appreciate a scientific group coming out and trying to do this test. Great. Appreciate the enthusiasm. But cannot work.
Can it work?
Tell us when you're ready. I'm ready. Bring it up.
So it's starting?
Yeah.
Okay, so the test is starting. It's starting right now.
At first, all the stripes are clearly visible. But sure enough, as the boat reaches the horizon, the stripes begin to disappear one by one.
It's pretty amazing. You can actually see it pretty clearly with this camera here. And you see that the red stripe that was at the bottom has completely disappeared, and it's now getting closer to sort of the middle group. So this can only happen, why? Green stripe, that is?
So we've lost because of the curvature of the Earth. It's about 1.5 stripes.
Right.
So here's what we were shooting.
But Mark Sargent and the other flat earthers have a very different interpretation of the results.
So you don't think that what we're seeing is actually real? You think it's because of heat?
Absolutely heat.
Does anyone here in flat Earth believe it's a globe? It's still flat. No, it's anyone? Raise a hand. It's not a pear either.
This demonstration, it doesn't change anything for you.
Lord, no.
Mark, do you really believe this stuff? Tell me the truth. I'm serious.
I absolutely 100% believe we are not on a globe. We are part of a giant studio set. All the world's a stage.
Conspiracy.
The highest authority, and you're on it.
I still don't understand.
Higher than presidents.
Like, who's gaining from all this, from this large?
The super rich. People that are behind the scenes. Remember, the first rule of power is stay hidden.
So this is, for me, where I think it gets really dangerous, because we're going back into the dark ages, right? You're essentially perpetuating ignorance by denying science. You know, there's a real life implication in all of this.
Science has had its chance, and they aren't putting up a defense. I think that the flat Earth could potentially usher in a new golden age, or it could usher in an age of chaos.
It's easy to dismiss this as just a silly theory and unimportant. In America, more and more young people seem to believe that the problem is that it's a growing movement in this flat. And, you know, it's more than just distrusting government. It's this notion that thousands of years of empirical scientific evidence is now being dismissed as a mere conspiracy. And that's where I think it really starts getting dangerous for all of us.